On the main river, the water temperature was about 50 degrees due to coal water from the bottom of Lake Powell running through the dam. But here in the tributary, the water was much warmer. Richard and Miriam were married just a few days before flying to Arizona to meet us. This was their honeymoon. No Hotel California for them. They had never been here before, and as Richard said, it's a pilgrimage every serious whitewater boater wants to make. Sleeping out in the open in 1869, John Wesley Powell wrote, "What a chamber for a resting place this is, hewn from solid rock, the heavens for a ceiling." The longer you stay, the more clearly you hear the song of the river, singing of harmony and natural order. At a time when it's harder and harder to find a truly isolated spot, this was the most remote place I'd ever been, and it was a powerful experience. About halfway through his pioneering journey down the Colorado, Major John Wesley Powell observed that each wall of the canyon is a composite structure, a wall composed of many walls, but never a repetition. We were discovering the truth of that as we passed through canyons with mile-high vertical walls. Newlyweds Richard and Miriam combined their considerable whitewater skills in a double kayak, which allowed them to reach speeds that would not have been attainable in a single. Above Upset Rapid, their cruise was quick and sure. Whitesell followed in his open canoe. With the exception of the rafts, his was the longest sport boat on the river. Doing my John Wayne impression, I rode the bow of the oarboat like a bucking bronco. Later that afternoon, we found ourselves on a stretch of quiet water, an alcove of solitude amidst rapids too numerable to count. As you said, Regan, I mean, this is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and if we as Americans can't protect this, I mean, what can we protect? Our priorities are really out of whack if we can't take a look at this fabulous stone cathedral with this river winding down it and not see fit to take care of it. It'd just be a shame. One long-range solution to some of these problems is for us to start raising a generation of environmentally conscious children and making conservation and environmentalism as big a part of a child's education as math and reading. A good place to start would be right here with the wildlife of the Grand Canyon. There are no less than 291 species of birds here. Bighorn sheep are but one of 67 types of mammals. They thrive in steep, rocky terrain. The preservation of the canyon is of paramount concern to all, but experts are having a hard time agreeing on priorities.
Well, there are a number of really important issues being debated over the Grand Canyon right now. One of the ones that's in the news mostly is peaking power, the release of water through Glen Canyon Dam and the impact it's having on the Grand Canyon ecosystem. The air pollution that's being released from the same area from the power plant at Page and that seems to be affecting the views within the Grand Canyon, obscuring them. Uranium mining, it has been a real controversial issue with regard to the canyon, and although it's presently on hold, we could see that change momentarily. The Havasupai Indians could see the ending of their religion from some of the uranium mining that's going to be happening in their sacred lands. For 27 years, Glen Canyon Dam has been operated to make sure that the water deliveries were met downstream to California, Arizona, Nevada, and the country of Mexico, and to make electricity, which makes money. Now we're in a position and a place in time where we have to try to balance the books, so to speak. We have to try to balance the environmental impacts that are occurring because of the operation of the dam and our societal obligations.
Our co-op buys and distributes the power directly from Western Area Power Administration. That power is distributed to irrigation farmers. Those farmers have been having hard times for many, many years. It's also distributed to a retirement community, and those people are on fixed incomes.
The management and the employees of the Navajo Generating Station are very concerned about the environment and specifically about the visibility issue in the Grand Canyon. There's a tremendous amount of information and data that's been collected over the years and is currently being analyzed and assessed and will be used by the EPA in making their ruling. The action that would be taken would be dependent upon the required cleanup based on the EPA rule. And in the worst case, that would probably be limestone scrubbers or sulfur dioxide scrubbers, which could cost the plant in the neighborhood of $500 million in capital investment and as much as $100 million a year to operate. So you and I, the consumers, and where the Bureau of Reclamation owns part of this plant, the taxpayer, would all pay for that cleanup.
And I think most of those consumers would be willing to pay a little bit more for their power, to know that they were assuring the preservation of resources within Grand Canyon National Park.
As with most worthwhile conservation issues, some degree of sacrifice will be necessary to preserve two of Grand Canyon's greatest resources: wild open space and clean air. Once they're gone, there's no technology known to man that can bring them back.